The first time humans met the galaxy, no one cheered. No big welcome party waited for them. No music played. No crowds clapped. It happened in the year 2087. A small human ship called Hope 7 was testing a new faster-than-light engine near the edge of known space. Suddenly, a huge silver ship appeared in front of them. It was smooth, perfect, and 10 times bigger than anything humans had ever built. A voice came through the speakers. It was calm and cold. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself. This is restricted space." Captain Maria Reyes answered slowly. "This is the Earth ship Hope 7. We come in peace. We are explorers from the Sol system." There was a long silence. Then the voice spoke again. "Sol system. Primitive carbon-based life. Not yet catalogued. Stand by." The silver ship scanned them. Bright blue light moved over Hope 7 from bow to stern. After a few minutes, another voice joined. The voice of the Galactic Concord Council. "Species designation, human. Homeworld, Earth. Technological level, Tier 9. Probationary status granted. Welcome to the galaxy. Do not leave your assigned zone without permission." That was it. No handshake, no gifts, no questions about human culture or dreams. Just rules. From that day, humans learned their place very fast. The Galactic Concord was ruled by old species. The Vexari were tall crystals that glowed softly and lived for thousands of years. The Korath were giant beings with thick armor skin and voices like thunder. The Luminar had no bodies. They were pure light and thought, floating in shimmering clouds. These three, and a few others, sat on the High Council. They made the laws. They decided who could trade, who could travel, who could speak. Humans were allowed one small embassy on the neutral station called Harmony Prime. It was a tiny room at the very back of the visitor section. The door was plain metal. No sign, no flag. Just a number, 47B. Every year, human ambassadors went to the council meetings. They wore simple gray suits. They carried small notepads. They sat in the last row of seats. They never spoke unless asked. And they were almost never asked. The council did not hide how they felt about humans. During one meeting, a Vexari delegate named Kale Vor turned his glowing face toward the human seats. "Has the ape species sent another report about their tiny metal boxes in space?" he asked. Laughter rolled through the chamber. Even the soft light of the Luminar flickered with amusement. The human ambassador that year was a quiet man named Daniel Park. He stood up slowly. His voice was steady. "Yes, Delegate Kale Vor, we have sent our yearly progress report. Our population is stable. Our colonies on Mars and Europa are growing slowly. We continue to follow all Concord rules." Kale Vor made a sound like breaking glass. "How generous of you. Perhaps one day your kind will learn to walk upright without falling over." More laughter. Daniel Park sat down again. He wrote something in his small notebook. Then he closed it. No anger showed on his face. No red cheeks. No tight fists. He simply waited for the next topic. This happened again and again, year after year, decade after decade. The Korath called humans soft skins. The Luminar said human minds were noisy and small. A new species called the Zenari, who looked like giant insects, once suggested that humans should be kept in display habitats, so others could study them safely. The motion failed by only 3 votes. Every insult was recorded. Every joke. Every laugh. Back on Earth, huge underground rooms were built. They were cold and silent. Rows of black servers hummed quietly. Every word from the council chamber was saved there. Every video, every sound file, every translation, nothing was deleted. Scientists, historians, and military officers studied the records. They did not shout. They did not cry. They just listened. Sometimes a young officer would ask, "Why do we let them talk to us like this?" An older one would answer, "Because we are counting." No one explained more, but everyone understood. Humans built their colonies carefully. They made farms on dry Mars. They dug tunnels under the ice of Europa. They sent slow ships to nearby stars. Everything was small. Everything was quiet. No loud announcements. No proud parades. The galaxy watched and smiled. "They are not a threat," the Vexari said. "They breed slowly. They fight among themselves. They obey." "They are useful," the Korath added. "Cheap labor. Good miners. They never complain." "They are children," the Luminar whispered in light. "Let them play in their corner until they grow up, if they ever do." So the rules grew tighter. Humans could not build warships bigger than corvettes. Their faster-than-light engines were limited to slow speeds. They had to pay high taxes in rare minerals. They could not vote in council matters. They could not speak unless spoken to. And every time a new rule came, the human ambassador would stand, bow slightly, and say the same thing. "We accept the decision of the council." Then they would leave the chamber and send the new rule back to Earth. On Earth, people read the messages. They nodded. They filed the papers, and they kept working. Factories ran day and night, but they did not make warships. They made cargo ships, mining drones, food processors, medical machines, all legal, all boring, all exactly what the council allowed. Deep in the Pacific Ocean, hidden under miles of water, something different was built. Thick walls, silent machines. No one outside Earth knew about them. In the cold darkness of the Oort cloud, far beyond Pluto, long shapes waited. They looked like rocks from a distance, but inside, lights glowed softly. Engines stayed cold. Weapons stayed hidden. Time passed. 50 years, 100 years, 200 years. Still, humans stayed quiet. Ambassadors came and went. Some grew old in the small embassy room. Some died there. New ones arrived. Always calm, always polite, always silent when they were laughed at. Then came the year 2483. A new human colony was started on a small moon called Epsilon Eridani 4b. The moon had good water and strong metals. Humans built a town there. Nothing big, just homes, schools, and a mine. A Korath company wanted the mine. They sent a message to the council. "These soft skins are in our way. Remove them." The humans had to leave. The human governor on the moon sent a short reply. "We have lived here for 12 years. Our children were born here. We ask for time to move." The Korath laughed over the open channel. "Children, you breed like insects. Leave now, or we will burn your little houses." The humans did not fight. They packed slowly. They loaded their ships. They left the moon. But before the last ship left, a single message went back to Earth. It was only 4 words. "They have gone too far." In the silent bunkers under the Urals, red lights began to blink. Dusty plans were read again. Names long forgotten were spoken in quiet rooms. Silent choir. Final note. The galaxy did not hear. The galaxy was still laughing. But on Earth, the long patience was ending. Not with shouts, not with anger, with something colder, something deeper, something that had waited 400 years to be born. The years after the Epsilon Eridani moon incident passed slowly. Humans kept building their small colonies. They planted more fields on red Mars. They drilled deeper under Europa's ice. They sent quiet probes to new stars. Everything looked normal from the outside. The galaxy saw no change. But inside Earth's hidden rooms, the counting continued. Every new rule from the Council went into the black servers. Every new joke, every new laugh. The folders grew thicker. The files got new names. Incident 472. Incident 473. Small red numbers ticked up in the corner of screens that no one outside Earth ever saw. Then came the big change. In the year 2491, a new Korath cartel bought the rights to mine half the Orion arm. They wanted fast profits. They needed cheap workers. They looked at human colonies and saw easy targets. Humans mined well. Humans complained little. Humans obeyed. The cartel sent a simple demand to Harmony Prime. All human mining operations in sectors Gamma 9 through Delta 4 now belong to Korath United. Humans will work for us or leave. The council did not even debate it long. A quick vote. 89 yes, 4 no. The human ambassador was not even in the room that day. He had been told to wait outside. When the vote finished, the doors opened. Ambassador Li Wei walked in. He carried his usual small notepad. He listened as the decision was read aloud. No expression crossed his face. He bowed once. Earth accepts the council's ruling. He turned and left. That night, on Earth, a single encrypted message arrived at 3 places: a bunker under the Himalayas, one beneath the Antarctic ice, and one deep in the Amazon basin. The message was short. Containment protocols authorized. Phase 1 begins. No one shouted. No alarms rang. Lights stayed dim. But machines that had slept for decades woke up. First came the engine changes. Human ships had always used slow FTL drives. The council limited them to 0.7 C, barely faster than light. It made travel between stars take months instead of days. Humans never asked for more speed. They never complained. Now, in hidden shipyards inside hollowed-out asteroids, engineers opened sealed crates. New cores were installed. Cores that could push ships to 12 C or higher. The old slow engines stayed on the outside for everyone to see. The fast ones stayed hidden inside. Next came the weapons. The council allowed humans only small defensive lasers. Nothing bigger than a corvette's gun. No torpedoes. No missiles with real power. But in secret factories under the oceans, other things were made. Long tubes called conversion lances. Small black spheres nicknamed Star Whisperers. Heavy railguns that fired slugs of dense metal at speeds that could crack moons. All of them stayed wrapped in stealth fields. No scans could find them. Still, Earth said nothing. Then the council went further. In 2497, a vote came to the chamber. The proposal was simple but cruel. Due to repeated minor violations by human colonies, all human FTL drives shall be capped at 0.3 C. All existing ships must report to Harmony Prime for refit within 6 standard months. Refusal will result in full quarantine of the Sol system. The chamber filled with soft sounds of agreement. The Vexari delegates glowed brighter with pleasure. The Korath thumped their heavy fists on tables. The Luminar lights pulsed in slow, mocking patterns. A young Zenari delegate stood up. His voice clicked like dry leaves. Let us be honest. These creatures are a pest. Slow them down. Keep them in their tiny cage. If they try to spread again, we simply remove the cage and them. Laughter rolled through the hall again. The human ambassador that year was a woman named Sofia Alvarez. She sat in the back row as always. Her hands rested calmly on her knees. When the vote passed, she stood. She walked to the center podium. Everyone expected the usual bow and quiet acceptance. Instead, she looked straight at the high speaker, a tall Vexari named Thalzor. "May I speak?" she asked. Her voice was soft but clear. Thalzor tilted his crystal head. "If you must." Sophia paused for only a second. "Earth has followed every rule for 410 years. We have paid every tax. We have accepted every limit. We have listened to every word spoken about us in this chamber. She looked around slowly. We have never asked for more than our place. But today you take even that small place away. You do not ask. You do not explain. You simply decide. A few murmurs started. Sophia continued. We will follow this order too. Our ships will come for refit. Our people will stay inside the new speed limit. She smiled, just a small, calm smile. But please remember one thing. We have always listened. We are still listening. She stepped back, bowed once, and left the chamber. The laughter came back, louder this time. They fold so easily, a Korath rumbled. Like wet paper, a Luminar light whispered. They will never learn, Falzor said, and closed the session. Outside the chamber, Sophia walked to her small shuttle. Inside the shuttle, she opened a secure line to Earth. One sentence. Phase 2 is green. On Earth, the lights in the deep bunkers turned from red to steady blue. Old war plans opened on screens. Silent choir. Final note. Names of ships long thought to be scrapped appeared again. They were not scrapped. They waited in the dark beyond Neptune, in gas giant shadows, in hollow moons, thousands of them, not shiny and elegant like council ships, rough, thick, built strong, built to last, built to win. Engineers ran final checks, weapons powered up for the first time in centuries. Crews, people who had trained in secret since childhood, took their stations. No flags flew, no horns sounded, no speeches were made. Just quiet orders. Stand by. The galaxy noticed nothing. Trade continued. Human freighters still carried ore and food to council worlds. Human ambassadors still sat in the back row at every meeting. But the laughter started to sound different. Smaller. Nervous. Because some of the older delegates began to notice something strange. Human eyes no longer looked down when insulted. They looked straight ahead, calm, patient, waiting. And in the quiet places of Earth, countdown clocks appeared on screens. Numbers ticking down, not fast, not loud, slow, steady, unstoppable. The galaxy still thought humans were weak, still thought they were children, still thought they would stay quiet forever. They were wrong. The tri-millennial conclave started like every other big meeting. Ships from hundreds of worlds arrived at Harmony Prime. The giant station spun slowly in empty space, its lights bright against the black. Inside the main chamber, seats rose in circles around a wide central platform. The High Council sat at the top. Everyone else filled the lower rows. Humans sat in their usual place, row 47, section B. Only 3 seats this time. Ambassador Elena Voss sat in the middle. She was 48 years old, short, with gray starting to show in her dark hair. On her left sat a young man named Raj Patel, taking notes. On her right sat Dr. Miriam Chen, a scientist who rarely spoke in public. They wore plain gray suits. No decorations, no flags. The first 2 days passed with normal business. Trade deals, border disputes, new mining rights, the usual things. Humans listened. They said nothing. On the 3rd day, the big motion came. The High Speaker, a very old Vexari named Learzeth, floated his crystal body to the center. His voice rang clear through the chamber. Item 7.9. Proposal to revoke provisional membership of species human. Effective immediately. Sol system to be designated preservation zone. No further expansion allowed. Observation only. Motion tabled by Delegate Falzor of the Vexari. A soft wave of sound moved through the seats. Not quite surprise, more like satisfaction. Many delegates had waited years for this day. Falzor stood next. His crystal skin glowed bright blue. Humans have shown they cannot be trusted with freedom. They spread too fast. They breed without control. They obey rules only when watched. A preservation zone is mercy. We will study them. We will protect them from themselves. In time, perhaps they will evolve into something worthy. Then he added the worst part. I offer an amendment. All human offspring born outside the Sol system after this date will be sterilized. No exceptions. This prevents future contamination of galactic space. The chamber went quiet for 1 second. Then came the murmurs. Then came the nods. Then came the laughter. Short, sharp, pleased. A Korath delegate banged his fist once. Good. Clean the gene pool. A luminar cloud pulsed yellow with amusement. Lies. Let them stay in their cradle forever. A Zainari clicked his mandibles. Finally. No more softskins digging where they should not. The vote counters moved fast. Green lights appeared on screens. Yes after yes. Elena Voss sat very still. Her hands rested flat on her lap. Raj kept writing, but his pen moved slower. Miriam stared straight ahead, eyes wide but dry. When 92% had voted yes, Learzeth raised one crystal arm. Motion carries. Amendment carries. The human species is hereby. Elena stood up. The movement was slow, calm. Everyone noticed, because humans almost never stood without being called. She walked down the narrow aisle between seats. No one stopped her. Guards watched, but did not move. She reached the central platform and stepped onto it. The chamber became quiet. Elena looked up at Learzeth. Her voice was soft, but carried everywhere. May I speak? Learzeth tilted his head. You have 1 minute. Elena nodded once. For 423 years, we have sat in this room. We have listened to every word. We have recorded every vote, every joke, every laugh, every plan to limit us, every plan to cage us, every plan to erase us. She paused. We never answered back. We never shouted. We never walked out. We simply listened. She looked around the chamber slowly. Faces stared back, some curious, some bored, some smiling. You call us apes. You call us children. You call us pests. You say we are noisy. You say we are small. You say we are dangerous only to ourselves. Her voice stayed even. No anger. No tremble. You are right about one thing. We are dangerous. But not in the way you think. She reached into her pocket and took out a small black cube. It was smooth. No buttons. No lights. Just black. She placed it on the podium. The cube pulsed once. Soft white light, gone in a second. Every hollow screen in the chamber flickered, then died. The big central display went dark. Personal screens on wrists and tables turned black. Even the floating lights dimmed for a moment. Silence fell like a heavy blanket. No one laughed now. Elena looked straight at Thalzor. Thank you for the clarity, she said. We have heard enough. She turned. She walked back up the aisle. Raj and Miriam stood and followed her. No one moved to stop them. The 3 humans left the chamber. The doors closed behind them with a soft click. Inside, confusion started. Delegates tapped screens. Nothing worked. Technicians rushed in. They checked cables. They restarted systems. Nothing. Learzeth tried to speak again. His voice came out thin and small without the amplifiers. Session paused. We will resume when systems return. But the systems did not return. Not that day, not the next. On Earth, people watched live feeds from hidden relays. When the cube pulsed, quiet cheers rose in bunkers and control rooms. Not loud, not wild, just small, satisfying sounds. The black cube had done its job. It sent a signal through every open channel. A kill code. Not violent, not explosive, just a shutdown. Every council system linked to Harmony Prime froze. Communications, records, security. All dark. It would take weeks to fix. But that was not the real point. The real point was the message. Humans had just shown they could reach in and touch the heart of the council anytime they wanted. And they had chosen not to, until now. Elena's shuttle left Harmony Prime without clearance. No one chased it. No one dared. Back on Earth, countdown clocks changed color. From blue to gold. Phase 3 began. In hidden shipyards, lights came on brighter. Engines tested at low power. Weapons moved into loading tubes. Crews ran drills one last time. Still, no announcement. No angry speech to the galaxy. Just silence. But the silence felt different now. Heavier. Colder. The galaxy waited. They waited for threats. They waited for demands. They waited for fleets. Nothing came. 17 days passed. 17 days of quiet. Then, on the 18th day, every council member world received the same thing. No video, no text, just audio. One human voice, calm, clear, measured. You called us apes. You called us children. You laughed. Now listen. The message ended. No more words. But across 1,000 systems, something began to move. Shapes in the dark. Lights that had stayed cold for centuries. Ships that the galaxy never knew existed. They dropped their stealth fields one by one. Not in anger, not in revenge. In precision. In patience finally used up. The galaxy stopped laughing. 17 days passed after Elena Voss left the chamber. 17 days of nothing. No ships left Sol. No angry messages filled the channels. No fleets gathered at the borders. The galaxy waited. Some laughed nervously. Some said humans were bluffing. Most just watched the empty space around Sol and told themselves everything was fine. Harmony Prime stayed dark. Technicians worked day and night to fix the systems. They replaced modules. They rerouted power. They begged for help from Vexari crystal engineers. Nothing worked fully. Half the screens stayed black. Communications between worlds became slow and broken. The Great Council felt small for the first time. On the 18th day, it began. Every council member world received the same thing at the same moment. No warning, no picture, just sound. A single human voice spoke in perfect translation through every speaker, every wrist device, every ship bridge. You called us apes. You called us children. You laughed. Now listen. The voice stopped. Silence followed. Then the first reports came in. A Korath battle station in the Orion Arm lost all power. Lights went out. Guns went silent. Engines died. The crew banged on consoles, but nothing answered. Emergency lights flickered for a few seconds, then died too. The station floated dead in space. On the Vexari homeworld, crystal cities dimmed. The tall towers that glowed for thousands of years turned gray. Inside, the air grew cold. Lights faded. Heat systems failed. The crystals themselves started to crack with tiny sharp sounds. Luminar neural hubs, floating clouds of pure thought, felt pain for the first time. Their minds looped. Images of human faces appeared and vanished. Voices whispered old insults back at them. The loops grew faster. Some luminar clouds shrank. Others screamed in light that no one could hear. Across 1,000 systems, the same thing happened. Shield generators failed. Communication relays went quiet. It was not random. It was exact. Only council military and government systems died. Civilian homes stayed lit. Trade ships kept moving. But the tools of control, the weapons, the eyes, the voices of power went dark. Then the shapes appeared. In deep space, far from any star, black hulls dropped their stealth. They had waited there for decades. Some looked like asteroids. Some hid inside gas clouds. Some floated in the rings of dead planets. Now they moved. They were not beautiful like council ships. No smooth curves, no shining metal, thick armor, ugly angles, big engines built for one thing, to keep going when everything else stopped. The first attack came without warning. A Korath heavy cruiser, patrolling near the Korward border, saw 3 shapes appear on scanners. The shapes were too close, too fast. The cruiser fired. Beams hit nothing. The shapes were already gone. Then a new weapon struck. It looked like a small silver needle. It moved slow, almost lazy. The cruiser tried to dodge. Too late. The needle touched the hull. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then the entire front half of the ship turned into gray dust. Not exploded, not burned, just gone. Atoms spread out like smoke. The back half kept spinning, engines still firing, crew still alive for a few more seconds until air ran out. The weapon was called a conversion torpedo. Humans had built thousands in secret. Each one carried a tiny singularity generator. When it hit, it forced normal matter to forget how to stay together. Quiet, clean, final. More ships died the same way. A Vexari command carrier tried to run. It pushed its engines to maximum. A human ship matched speed easily. Then a gravitic lance fired. Space folded like paper. A thin line of nothing cut through the carrier from bow to stern. The ship split in 2 perfect halves. Both halves kept moving forward for a moment before gravity pulled them apart. Luminar defense platforms, giant rings of light, tried to link minds and form a shield. Something new hit them. A small black sphere drifted in. Humans called it a quiet maker. When it activated, stars nearby dimmed. Not exploded, just quieter. The light from those stars weakened. The luminar rings depended on star energy. Without it, they faded. Their thoughts slowed. Their clouds turned thin and gray. Many simply stopped thinking. Human ships did not shout battle cries. They did not broadcast threats. They moved like machines. Precise, patient, every shot calculated, every target chosen months or years before. Back on Harmony Prime, the chamber filled with panic. Delegates ran to escape pods. Guards tried to hold order. Nothing worked. The station's own weapons would not fire. Air recyclers started to fail. A single screen flickered back to life. Just one, in the center of the chamber. A human face appeared. Elena Voss, calm, no smile, no anger. "This is not war," she said. "This is consequence." The screen showed live images. Korath fleets breaking apart. Vexari cities going dark. Luminar minds fading. "We stayed quiet for 400 years, Elena continued. "We listened to every word. We accepted every limit. We let you laugh. We let you rule. We waited." She paused. "You decided our children should never be born free. You decided our home should become a zoo. You decided we were nothing." Her eyes looked straight through the camera. "Now you see what nothing can do." The screen went black again. No more words came. Human ships kept moving. They did not chase every ship. They did not burn every world. They hit only the things that controlled the council. Fleets, stations, command centers, power hubs. They left cities alone. They left people alive. But they took away the power to rule others. In less than 3 days, the old council stopped existing. Not because humans wanted an empire, because humans wanted it gone. Then they stopped. Human ships pulled back. They vanished into the dark again. Stealth fields rose. Engines cooled. No victory parade. No flags raised over broken worlds. A final message arrived at what was left of Harmony Prime. Audio only. The same calm voice. "We return to silence now. Do not follow us. Do not speak our name in mockery again. The next time we speak, there will be no next time. Saul's beacon went dark. All human signals stopped. Colonies closed their gates. Trade ships stayed home. The lanes that once carried human goods became empty. The galaxy looked around. It felt small. It felt alone. The old powers were broken, the new ones were afraid. And somewhere in the quiet dark, humanity waited once more. Not angry, not proud, just quiet. But now everyone knew what that quiet really meant. The galaxy had never felt so empty. In the days after the human ships pulled back, silence covered everything. No victory horns sounded. No crowds cheered in streets. No new flags rose over ruined stations. The old powers were broken, but no one came to take their place. The council chamber on Harmony Prime stayed dark and cold. Broken screens hung like dead eyes. Empty seats waited for delegates who would never return. On the Korath homeworld, the great stone city stood quiet. Towers that once shook with marching armies now echoed with wind. Warriors who had laughed at soft skins sat in their homes and stared at empty weapon racks. Their heavy armor felt too big now. Their thunder voices sounded small. The Vexari crystal spires no longer sang. The light inside them had gone dull gray. Families gathered in dim halls and whispered about the day the towers cracked. Old ones who remembered the first human contact touched the fractures and cried clear tears that fell like glass beads. The Luminar had it worst. Their floating minds, once bright and endless, now drifted slow and thin. Many had faded completely. The ones left felt holes in their thoughts, places where memories of laughter and scorn used to live. They no longer mocked, they no longer planned. They simply existed, quieter than they had ever been. Words spread fast through what remained of the trade lanes. Ships from smaller species carried the same story from system to system. The humans did it. They took nothing. They just stopped everything. They left us alive, but they took our power. Some tried to test the new silence. A small fleet of Zainari scouts moved toward the edge of Sol space. They wanted to see if the humans really meant it. They sent probes. They sent messages. They waited. Nothing answered. The probes vanished. The messages bounced back with no reply. The scouts turned around fast. They never went back. Other species watched and learned. No one wanted to be next. On Earth, life went on almost the same. People woke up. They went to work. They ate meals with their families. Children played in parks under open sky. Schools taught math, history, and science. Markets sold bread and fruit. Ships carried goods between colonies. But the gates to the wider galaxies stayed closed. No one spoke about the war. Not in public, not on news feeds, not even in private messages. The old files in the deep bunkers were sealed again. The weapons went cold. The fast engines stayed hidden. The ships returned to their dark places and waited once more. Only a few knew the full truth. In quiet rooms under mountains and oceans, small groups met. They looked at star maps. They read old reports. They nodded and said little. One evening, Elena Voss sat alone in a small house near the sea. She watched waves hit the rocks. Her gray suit hung in the closet now. She wore simple clothes. No uniform, no rank. Just a woman who had once carried a black cube into the heart of power. A soft knock came at the door. Raj Patel entered. He looked older than his years. Miriam Chen followed. She carried a small box. They sat together without words at first. Raj broke the silence. It's done. Elena nodded. It was never about winning. Miriam opened the box. Inside lay the black cube from the chamber. No longer smooth. Tiny cracks ran across its surface. It would never work again. "We could have done more," Miriam said quietly. "We could have," Elena answered. "But more would have made us them." They looked out at the dark ocean. Stars shone above. Sol's light felt warm and close. "Will they come again?" Raj asked. Elena thought for a long time. "If they do," she said, "they will speak carefully. They will remember." She stood up. She walked to the window. "We stayed quiet because war is easy," she said. "Restraint is hard. We chose the hard path for 400 years. They thought it was weakness. Now they know." She turned back to them. "We go back to quiet now. Not because we fear them, because we choose it." Raj and Miriam nodded. They left soon after. The door closed softly. Elena stayed by the window. She watched the stars. Somewhere out there, broken fleets drifted. Somewhere out there, old rulers learned new lessons. Somewhere out there, the galaxy tried to heal. But no one came near Sol. No one dared. Years passed. Trade started again, slowly. Small ships from distant worlds asked permission to approach human colonies. They offered rare metals. They asked for food and medicine. They used careful words. No jokes. No demands. Human traders met them at the edge of safe zones. Deals were made. Goods changed hands. Then everyone left. No embassies opened. No ambassadors returned to Harmony Prime. The station stayed empty. New groups tried to form councils. They argued, they voted, they failed. No one could agree who should lead when the old leaders could no longer speak. In time, children born after the reckoning asked questions. "Why don't we go out there? Why don't we take what we want?" Older ones answered the same way. "Because we can, and because we won't." The answer confused the young at first. Then they grew up. They understood. The galaxy changed in small ways. Stories spread about the quiet species from a small yellow star. Stories said they listened for centuries. Stories said they waited. Stories said when they finally spoke, worlds went dark. No one laughed at those stories anymore. No one called them apes. No one called them children. They called them by name. Humans. And when they said the name, they spoke softly. Because the name carried weight now. Weight of patience. Weight of silence. Weight of what happened when silence ended. And in the deep quiet of space, far from any light, a few human ships still waited. Engines cold, weapons sleeping, crews living normal lives inside thick hulls. They watched, they listened, they stayed quiet, because quiet was their choice. And if the galaxy ever forgot again, the quiet would end. Not with noise, not with fire, with the same calm voice that had spoken once before. And when that voice spoke again, there would be no next time.